Good morning. It's Merritt here with Apteros Trading, looking at these S&P futures. And as usual, let's start by recapping, being accountable to what we said yesterday and how it played out, what happened, as well as we'll dive into what we think about today coming into the pit session open. So yesterday, I forget the exact word we used, suboptimal, not a great kind of trade location. I forget the word I used, but the thought was, yes, we're bearish, but we're in this kind of, less than ideal situation where we probably need to bounce back up into this bear zone for there to be really good risk reward on the table and to look for ideal, let's call it general trend continuation in this kind of bearish environment that we're in this overall pullback in the S&P. We talked about the potential for fast trend type of short, not for students, not the intraday fast trend that we talk about, but in general, a faster momentum downside movement continuing would be predicated on, that's a big word, 44, 42, 43 area, this neutral line right here. And, coming into the open, we did see sellers there. I talked about how I think that we could go a little bit above that level, if you remember. I'm kind of remembering my own words here as I speak. Run some stops. So I thought that was another spot to get on board short. You could have tried it here. But then once this is forming, you've pretty much just got to see what we call compression into this area. Right? It's not leaving, it's kind of wedging. The sellers are getting weaker and weaker, on these concentric legs here, right? So we start, as I call it, knocking on the door, right? And this is picture perfect classic pattern here where we finally break and start to spend time, multiple bars, distance, all of the above, holding above this neutral level. And here's a retest. There's a spring pattern on the second retest, if you guys know that pattern. Here's an ABC pattern right there. Pick your pattern, take the trade. Where are we going to go to? Well, it's a scalp. Overall, we're bearish with bear lines in the sand higher, but we were very clear about what type of location this was. And let's say the probabilities in general terms, not using numbers, of course, were higher that we got this move rather than the fast trend. But we were there for the fast trend and, in fact, took a couple stabs at it. But then you've got to realize what's not happening. You've got to see what is happening. And that was the main scenario to get up into here. So from here, was there short opportunity is the question, or do you still hold your scalp longs? Well, for us, it was very clear with our intraday VWAP-based framework, there were no short trades given. There was a pattern shift. You could have taken an advanced return pullback at one point, but that's very, very aggressive. So that's kind of depending on your niche that you're carving out within the NADRO space, whether or not you took, essentially a stab right here short or not. If you did, you got a little excursion and the buyers, coming right back there. So that's either a scratch or a stop if you took that very aggressive play. Otherwise, you either exited along into here or into the close. Pretty straightforward day. Another day where we're just, NADRO's giving us the narrative, giving us the story, and the market's behaving pretty nicely. Let's go talk about today. All right, September 16th. It's 31 minutes until the pit session open. And to me, the most important area and the bias that I have is the bull line in the sand, the green area here, around 58. For transparency, I am already positioned long here, and I'm going to be looking to get aggressive and add to this if we can overcome the bear level here. And especially if we start to hold above this 82 area, the general 4480 area, I'm going to be looking to get aggressive, looking to add, and see if we can get this move up into, the 45 teens That's scenario A for me, and how I'm already positioned for. What happens if the bearishness maintains in this market? Maybe even we get up here and wick this and then start to get back below this area. Then I would transition to being more bearish. We're still respecting 44.58, but looking to probably position short and then scale out into this and see if this can break down. I think there is the potential for chop today. We have had essentially 3 days. I know we've had decent range and there's been, decent kind of like trendy moves that we've seen. But if you look at the total of the 3 recent most days, it's sideways. So let's be aware of that. I do think we've made something of a bullish move relative to where the bulk of value has been over the past 3 days. Yesterday afternoon did that, and the overnight session is confirming that. So I'm leaning bullish from here, respectful of this area. It's a great spot to take partial profits and then look to get aggressive if we can hold above there. If that all fails, then again, I want to be bearish. If this level breaks down, I want to be neutral to bearish prior to any of that happening, as I just mentioned. So yeah, that's my plan for the day. Here's a couple levels below, just so we make sure to point those out. And here's what I have above. Cheers.